Abusua for your former finance minister, your kind of Ofori Atta. Yes, kind of Ofori Atta. Abusua, sisi papa ni honsem hemfa na akwa kodu ede na sisi ebabi. Allegedly ababa told you say papa esa akwa koto eye amane fufurum. Yes. Yes, see another big trouble and I say big problem to me akapapa ya enya asem keto ade ensem na to me aba papa you so this time round. Abusua had so ya be media GH. Mese wa say enene dey connect to channel so. Abusia body answer be subscribe like na wa bo aso ahema for person be tie no anya bi ete abusia yenko meeting some about betodwa efa ye former finance minister ye Ken Ofori Atta ho emra sesia ye das
the name of Ken Ofori Atta from its red alert list. And over the weekend we saw the office of the special prosecutor issuing a statement giving us a bit of flesh as regards the decision of Interpol, and I want us to go through that. Now, it says that the Office of the Special Prosecutor has received the decision of the Commission for the Control of Interpol's files concerning the red notice issued at Ghana's request for Mr. Kenneth Nanaya Ofori Atta. The Commission directed the deletion of the notice under Interpol's rules on political neutrality and notice processing, citing contextual factors at the time of issuance, including, quote, polarized political statements from members of current and former administrations about the conduct of the investigation, unquote, as well as public controversy surrounding prosecutorial and extradition processes, including public acknowledgement by senior officials at the Ministry of Justice of an inability at the time to pursue extradition due to the early procedural stage of the case. It says it's further observed that subsequent development made the notice unnecessary, as Mr. Ofori Atta's location was known, cooperation with US authorities was ongoing, and extradition processes had already been initiated following his arrest in the United States on 6 January 2026. Summons issued by the Criminal Division of the High Court in Akroma have been transmitted for service in the United States, requiring his appearance to answer multiple criminal charges. Efforts to secure his appearance continue through established legal diplomatic channels. The OSP reiterates that it remains guided solely by law and evidence and is committed to due process and the fair, lawful, and impartial prosecution of corruption and corruption-related offences. So that was a statement issued earlier by the Office of the Special Prosecutor, giving us an understanding of the latest development when it comes to Interpol removing the name of Mr. Ofori Atta from its red alert. Let me acknowledge the presence of Mr. Andrew Apiadwanka, who is the head of legal for the United Party. Good morning to you. It's great to have you here with us as well.
It's great to be on your show, and good morning to your lovely viewers and my two learned friends here and my doctor friend.
Perhaps I should start with you. Let me get your understanding of Interpol's decision this time around.
So let me wish your lovely viewers a good morning. So if I understand what has happened, Interpol has removed the red alert, and for me, I think it's pretty straightforward. So when you take into consideration the purpose of the red alert, as in is an alert you give to enable you what's called get hold of somebody who supposedly is a fugitive, as in somebody who is alleged to have committed an offense and is run away from the law. As things stands now, Honorable Ken Ofori Atta is in custody, not necessarily in Ghana's custody, but he's in custody in the US, albeit for a different what's called issue. Everybody in the world knows where he is, and so for me, then this whole red alert, in my opinion, has no benefit. Because the focus of the red alert is not to necessarily embarrass people. As in the focus of the red alert is to aid in dispensing with justice, so that if at the end the person for which the red alert was placed on what's called is known as, we all know where he is, then for me, I think it wouldn't make sense to still keep the red alert. So I agree with Interpol's stance on this. What's called? I think you see what all this brings to the fore once again, and as in when you read the comments by the OSP, you must understand that in 1992, when we took our constitution, we all agreed that one of the fundamental principles that will guide our constitution, that will guide this constitutional democracy, is the principle of the rule of law, and we are all supposed to be, or presumed to be, innocent until proven so. And I think that that principle extends to Honorable Ken Ofori Atta, and the OSP ought to be guided by law and by the principles of the rule of law in how everything is being handled. I think if there's something that we have all failed, all of us, is in making this case look very political and very partisan. And so, even though, in my opinion, this is clearly a case or an investigation that ought to affirm our commitment to the principles of probity and accountability, but the way the discourse has been handled, the fact that the OSP, in my opinion, did not have the courage to pursue these actions when His Excellency Nana Addo was still in office, and had to take the steps he's taking now when they left office, gives credence to the view that probably this case is being politically motivated. So for me, I think it brings to the fore the whole discussion about the OSP, about the need for an OSP who's really independent, because as in the way the OSP was set up, it still takes, as in not from, as in the OSP is not a creation of the Constitution. The OSP, the Act itself, takes its powers from the AG. You get a point. And the way the OSP has handled this case clearly shows that, for all intents and purposes, the OSP is not independent. So
if I hear you clearly, you're saying that we're where we are because the OSP failed to do what it had to do in the first place.
Yeah, because the whole idea of creating the OSP was to have an anti-corruption czar who was truly independent of the Attorney General, who could not be controlled by the executive. And yet, in how we created the office of the OSP, the OSP, per the act that created it, takes its authority more or less from the AG. It's like the OSP is like an agent of the Attorney General. And to give credence to my view, strangely, these offenses that Ken Ofori Atta is purported to have committed happened during the Ezwa regime, and yet the OSP could not have the courage to initiate these actions until what's called Nana Addo left office. You understand? Giving credence to a belief that really the OSP is not independent. If it were, then for me the OSP ought to explain why these actions, these steps were not initiated during Nana Addo's regime, and you could only take these steps when it was called the lost power, bringing into sharp focus and bringing or creating the need for us to have a conversation about anti-corruption institutions, whether or not they are, in terms of how they are created, in terms of the institutions, whether or not we've placed them in a position to deliver their money. One country, we have OSP, we have IOCO, we have Shiraj, we have Attorney General, we have CID, we have police, and all these institutions purport to be what's called fighting corruption. You understand? So for me, I think if we are really committed to the fight against corruption, and we ought to be committed to the fight against corruption because of the losses occasioned by way of corruption, then, and if indeed we are committed to creating a body which is not meant to be partisan, which is not meant to be under the control of the executive, then we must do it properly. And to do it properly, in my view, is to have this body created by the Constitution itself.
Just very briefly, before I come to you, Lawyer Victor Daudu, what I hear you say, aside from the problem with the Attorney General's Department and the fact that the Special Prosecutor is not independent, as it were, you're also saying that if that office had acted in time, we would not have been in a situation where it looks like discussions around this very issue became political, which is one of the reasons Interpol has decided to take him off.
No. So there are two different issues here. I'm saying that Interpol, I support Interpol taking him off because then was we all know where Ken. So why do you still keep him there? I keep him there because you want to embarrass the man or what? Because for me, that should not be the focus. We want justice. You understand? And what justice per the law. Yes, and that's why the OSP is saying, because you see, in 1992, like I'm saying, one of the cardinal principles that underpins our constitutional democracy is the principle of the rule of law. And that principle, in fact, it dictates that we should all be presumed to be innocent.
And to proving guilty.
As things stands now, Ken Ofori Atta is presumed, or we should presume that he is innocent. But having said that, and you see, when you read the Interpol tool, see, they don't want to, and in fact, and this issue will come also in the extradition issue. They don't want to use extradition to support cases that are perceived to be politically motivated.
Let me get your thoughts, Lawyer Daudu, and I'll read the second paragraph of the statement coming from the Office of the Special Prosecutor to you again. It says the Commission directed the deletion of the notice under Interpol's rules on political neutrality and notice processing, citing contextual factors at the time of issuance, including, quote, polarized political statements from members of current and former administrations about the conduct of the investigation. You must be concerned that amongst all the other reasons Interpol gave, this is also one major thing that is said, which is the reason we are where we are.
Yeah, good morning, Beatrice, and good morning to the good people of Ghana. You see, let's really get what actually a red notice is, because we are here to educate people, and this is a global law enforcement request that is made to the countries, other countries where there is police, that they want somebody to trace somebody and know where the person is so that they may arrest the person for provisional arrest and maybe to extradite the person. So what they do, so it is not an international arrest warrant, no, right? So it's just to give notice to the police in all the countries where you are a member that we are tracing. We don't know the location of this suspect, and normally it is based on a court order or a national order. What I understand is that it is becoming moot, the red notice, in the sense that now, as we speak, we know where Ken Ofori Atta is. He can be traced. There has also been an extradition order that has been made to the United States government, and they are following. So keeping the red notice over there has become moot. And I think this is one of the reasons why even OSP itself says that, look, it's become moot, we know where he is. And it is not only to face maybe an inquiry or the criminal prosecution. OSP has even said that there are multiple criminal charges. And I'm sure there are other charges that the Attorney General and itself is looking at. The mere fact that it's been removed does not negate the fact that there is an albatross hanging your neck to come and answer for suspected crimes that has been committed by you. It is still there. So it doesn't mean that he's been taken off, he's been left off the hook. No, that's not the issue at all. And I can tell you that because extradition is a process between two governments, and it also calls for due diligence, in that it must be a crime within the United States what we are alleging that he has committed. if they don't see that as a crime, it becomes one of the difficulties. The other issue is that yet maybe what society has been polarized, the Ghanaian society, because everybody has a right to make comment on political issues. And I'm sure the summation of the issues that have been looked at, that is why they have come to the conclusion that it might be for political purposes. And when it comes to political purposes, people think that we are going to be persecuted by my opponents. And unfortunately, these allegations only came out when there had been a new government. So if there was an old government, there was no way we were going to know that there have been issues of allegations of criminal enterprise, criminal activities, and we want him to come and answer.
So the point has to do with the commentary, the public commentary, including from the country's Attorney General, the kind of public comments that were made, making it sound like he was being prosecuted politically.
You know, one of the issues that as a country we have is that people always feel, and you know, that when there are issues which has political undertone and it is drummed, you know, all over, the judiciary, especially in this country, does not want to touch it. It always tells you that these are political issues. So where there is sometimes suspicion of crime and others, people think that, look, when we are able to get people in the media, with the social media, making noise about it, that this is persecution, then it might constitute what they say is politically motivated.
So you disagree that the public commentary from
I think the public
government officials, even including AG,
the AG
might have
AG
added
was
up to this?
performing a constitutional duty. The constitutional duty he was performing is that under Article 21 going, it says that in a democratic society, you need to have sufficient information. Now, what's that sufficient information? We are talking about the public purse, what the taxpayers' money have been used for. So he was only giving information to the people to carry out, look, it is your money. This is how we have realized it's been used. And at the end of the day, we want the people to come and account for their stewardship. So I don't see anything to say that if the Attorney General of the country decides to give the people information as to his investigation, and it's a standard practice, and he gives that information, and is it because of the information that will constitute a political purpose or a political interference? In that light, I disagree.
You disagree?
Yes. Now, quickly, let me just react as to my learned friend, Apia Dankwa, was saying. You see, on this occasion, I think that I'll hold brief for the OSP. You know, when the OSP was there, he's the second person to take that position.
After Amidu?
Yeah, after Martin Amidu. What happened? We all know Martin Amidu to be a fearless, bold person. But at the end of the day, he had to run for his life. He had to run for his life. Now, the current OSP, when all this was happening, there was no way he could have touched some issues. Because, look, there was, let me tell you, there was an attempt to assassinate the OSP. That is known to the security apparatus, even the service commanders. It is known to them just because there was an issue which was dealing a scandal they wanted to investigate, and the law enforcement institution were refusing. It was an issue. A director from the same institution was crossed, right, by another law enforcement institution. They wanted to take it. Is known. It's just that it did not come because of some national security issues.
Because people were questioning even why he decided to file it at the time, if his life was really under threat.
No, it is, and I'm telling you that, look, it is only a fool.
Seriously.
No. from where I sit.
No, Victor.
No, from where I sit. No, from where I sit, and I know, and I'm telling you, right? And I'm telling you, you see, so it's not like I come here, I never come to media and spew anything, allegations, right? But this may not be for public consumption. That is why it did not come
then
out.
Saying it?
No, he's saying that OSP did not act, and the circumstances under which Ken Ofori Atta left this country, right? If they tell you, it is a mystery whether he knew or he didn't know, whether he could have acted.
But he said he knew, which was why people bashed him for not acting when he knew he was getting out of the country.
We got to know afterwards. He got to know afterwards. You see, it is not everything that they come to public and give the information, taking into consideration national security issues, right? So when people are bashing some officers at a point in time, when they do good things, praise them. When they do wrong, you can criticize them. But all I'm saying is that if you look at the circumstances under which he left, right? And I'm sure that there was no way the national security apparatus wouldn't have known.
Mr.
Right?
Tempoli.
But he couldn't have acted. And now why is it that the issues are coming and now he's bolding? It is because this government is not deciding that go after this case, take this case or no. He's been left to operate and he's operating. So I'm telling you that there have been precedent to show.
Abusuya asme de bedam we enchiremu na yedamamo ewo TV3 New Day wa bra Beatrice etinasia na one lawyer Dankwa a oye mranini a oda Movement for Change and Era Alancha Martin UP United Party ano na Gushegu MP Rasantumpuli ene NDC mranini kese pa omudisa nkomu itwitwi ekoso TV3 New Day ni so why do you say why do you be am you and any day can ba channel is ready can be like be subscribe to channel and any day can ba channel is be subscribe to channel subscribe your notification bell on adomane on now those are boss say be a video any subsequent videos be ya ba be do mo se munze enche 3 days time you can to free attack with na sem bia o United States court in jenu so kwa de be si bia de ba be do mo na average video de be dam so ani ji won be so be like no share na ma afoforo so enya bi ahwe na comment section so me hu de o dwen fa video da be do mi ne ndia no baba ye na yembo ma man Ghana enkoso da mu na ma se ma de bre no motie se bi ga Ghana politics having all the trending political stories in Ghana eheya na onsa bekan e da ma se ma de bre